Tampa Motormouth in the zone behind the microphone, all crazy all the time with the Tampa Bay Rays recap or recrack, depending upon how you look at the two. And I'm sure Tampa Bay fans would choose the latter rather than the former with how last night's game went. Of course, quick minor league update. Durham Bulls facing the Charlotte Knights in a 4-game series set on the road, dropping the first two yesterday, going 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, losing yesterday's game 3-2. Today, top fourth, Charlotte's leading 4-1. At this point, the Durham Bulls trying just to get a split, and we'll see if they can in fact do that. Rays on a road trip of their own, just having had 4 games against Boston, only taking 1. No travel day, zip after Monday's game, up to a Tuesday start. How would it go for the Rays? Not good right away. Bam! Bottom first, Jose Bautista homering on a fly ball to left field. Toronto would lead at 1-0. Then it was the Evan Longoria show, and not a show of a good kind. Back-to-back fielding errors, allowing Aaron Sebia and Escobar to get on base. Kelly Johnson would then ground into a force out. Aaron Sebia to third, Escobar out at second, Johnson to first. Bautista sacrifice fly, sending in J.P. Aaron Sebia to score. Then, with Adam Lind batting, Jeff Neiman would get in on the oopsiac wild pitch, sending Kelly Johnson to second. Lind would homer, fly ball to left field, scoring Kelly Johnson. Then, thank you, Edwin Encarnacion, the whole night, striking out pretty much. First of many. After 3, Toronto would lead it 4-0. Rays would get back into the 5th inning with Matt Joyce singling a line drive to center fielder Colby Rasmus. Sean Rodriguez would walk, sending Joyce to second. Then Reed Brignac would single in a line drive to score Matt Joyce, sending Sean Rodriguez to third. Then Brett Lowry had a little bit of a catching error in a pickoff attempt with Chris Gimenez batting, sending Reed Brignac to second. Gimenez would single in Sean Rodriguez, but then Desmond Jennings would bunt ground out. Carlos Pena would strike out, but Rays get 2 back. Toronto leads 4-2, bottom 6th. Jose Bautista walks, then yank. There goes Jeff Neiman. In comes J.P. Howell. One of 3 coaching visits to the mound in the inning. Then with Adam Lind batting, it was J.P. Howell's time to do a wild pitch, sending Jose Bautista second. Then Adam Lind walks, yank. There goes J.P. Howell after 2 batters. In comes Brandon Domes, recently called up from Durham. Then Edwin Encarnacion, what he's done all night, called out on strikes. Eric Thames would then single a ground ball to Evan Longoria. Jose Bautista would score. Adam Lind to third, Eric Thames to second, and then the third of 3 throwing errors by Evan Longoria on the night. Thankfully, Brett Lowry would line out. Brandon Domes would then intentionally walk Colby Rasmus. Then after another coaching visit to the mound, J.P. Aaron Sebia would luckily be called out on strikes. Toronto would lead at that point, 5-2, top 7. Rays get a little back with Matt Joyce homering. Then Sean Rodriguez would walk. Jason Fraser would replace Ricky Romero. Pinch hitting, Stephen Voigt would come in for Reed Brignac. Another coaching visit to the mound, this time Farrell for the Blue Jays. Voigt would pop out to second baseman Kelly Johnson. Chris Gimenez, wild pitch. Sean Rodriguez to second. Gimenez called out on strikes. Then Desmond Jennings, not having a Desmond Jennings type night, lines out to center fielder Colby Rasmus. Bottom 7, whole lot of defensive switching going on. That's easy for me to say. Then Stephen Voigt remained in the game as a left fielder. Escobar walks. Jake McGee comes in for the yanked Brandon Gnomes. Another coaching visit to the mound. Then Kelly Johnson strikes out swinging. Jose Bautista grounds out. But Adam Lind would single a line drive, scoring Yulnal Escobar. Lind to second on the throw. Jake McGee then intentionally walked Edwin Encarnacion, who struck out all night. But then there is an offensive substitution. Ben Francisco would replace Eric Thames. And then after all that, Francisco would strike out swinging. Then, bottom 8th, Burke Badenhop would come in for Jake McGee. Bam! Doesn't make much of a difference. Brett Lowry homers his second. Colby Rasmus would then single. J.P. Arencibia would then fly out. Escobar grounds out. And then Johnson grounds out. And then Toronto would lead it 7-3 at that point. And that would be the final score as the Rays dropped the first of a 3-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. A night that will be remembered for Evan Longoria's 3 oopsies. Yeah, pretty much. But hey, guess what, Rays fans? We weren't the team that did the worst in all the majors. Who was that? We'll get to it right now. And of course, Rays fans, if you thought the inning was bad, yeah, for the Rays, any inning at all, even with Evan Longoria's, 3 hours. How about, are you ready for this, between 2 pitchers, one Mark Melancone, and then one Justin Thomas. How about 13 batters, 1 inning, with Ian Kinsler doubling, then Elvis Andreas walking, then Josh Hamilton homering, 2 RBIs, and Adrian Beltre homering, only 1 RBI. Then Michael Young had to leave the game because of an injured back, and in came David Murphy, who walked. Then Nelson Cruz homering, double M goes bye-bye. In comes Justin Thomas, and then who gives up a sharp line drive, Mike Napoli single, then Yorvit called out on strikes, then Gentry battling their wild pitch, sends Napoli second, Gentry then singles, then we've got pinch hitter Alberto Gonzalez replaying Ian Kinsler, who then grounds out, and then Mike Napoli scores after the ground out, then Elvis Andreas doubles, Craig Gentry scores, Brandon Snyder walks, and then for the 13th batter of the inning, Adrian Beltre mercifully flies out. Of course, for tonight's game. And the pitching matchups, we've got David Price, lefty, going against Brandon Morrow, a righty. David Price, of course, 1.1482 ERA. Price took his first loss of the season Friday afternoon against the Red Sox when he allowed Trace earned run on 4 hits and 3 walks in 3 innings. He is 9-2 with a 2.06 ERA and 12 career starts against Toronto. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, for the mound, for the bad guys, Brandon Morrow walked away with his second no decision of the season after allowing 4 runs in his last outing. He enters his next start against the Rays with a 2.57 ERA, while holding opposing hitters to a 1.152. That would be a good trick. 1.52, a point. Put the point in the wrong place. 0.152 average over 14 innings this season. So, be interesting to see if the Toronto Blue Jays mojo keeps going. And I predict it will be very surprised if Desmond Jennings starts off as first batter again. And I would expect to see Matt Joyce moved up a little bit in the lineup after last night's performance. So, wanted to share Red Sox collapse. I'm sure you all saw the score. Isn't that a truly wonderful thing when you see that the Sox were totally clubbed, beaten, and utterly, totally destroyed by the Twins. 18-3. 18 runs for Texas on 21 hits. 3 runs for the Red Sox on 10 hits. And, anybody upset that Lester picked up his second loss of the year? I know I'm not. So, yeah, I just like that box score on Facebook. I gotta love it. Gotta find small sliver of light in that rumbling, ominous cloud of darkness when you have a game like that. So, Tampa Motor Mouth in the zone behind the microphone, all crazy all the time. And I will talk to you next time. Shh. Eyes gone.